All right, ready for a deep dive. We're tackling how to become a gerontological specialist today. Got our trusty GNCC FAQs right here, ready to break it all down.
Yeah, because honestly, sometimes all these certifications, it's like they're speaking a whole different language.
Totally. And this one, the GSC, it's becoming so important, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Left
It's like
downs.
you can speak a language, right?
Yeah.
But then there's truly understanding all the little nuances.
Yeah.
This certification shows you've got those nuances down when it comes to caring for older adults.
It's more than just like the medical stuff, right?
It goes way beyond.
It's the aging process itself and all the things that come with it.
Well, for sure. You've got multiple chronic conditions, often at the same time, the social aspects, the emotional well-being.
It's a lot.
It's a whole package. And the GSE says, hey, I can handle all of this.
So it's like that extra level of, I know what I'm doing, that can really make a difference. You know, you wouldn't hire just any contractor to restore some fragile, centuries-old building. You'd want someone who understands the ins and outs of that kind of project.
Exactly. Someone with specialized knowledge. And that's what the GSE signals in the world of geriatric care.
So for those who are maybe just starting to explore this whole thing, let's talk about who actually runs the show. Now, we know GAPNA does amazing work supporting gerontological nurses,
They're a fantastic resource.
but they don't actually hand out the GSE, so who does?
The big kahuna here is the GNCC, the Gerontology Nursing Certification Commission. They're the ones setting the standards, making the exam, and ultimately deciding who earns that certified specialist title.
All right, so let's talk about that exam. The GNCC FAQs don't sugarcoat it. 175 multiple choice questions, 4 hours to flex those brain muscles, and you need a 70% to pass.
It's designed to be tough, and for good reason.
Yeah.
They want to make sure anyone with this certification really knows their stuff. We're not talking memorization here. They're looking for that deep understanding, the kind you can use in real-life situations.
Makes sense. We're talking about people's parents, grandparents, people they love.
Exactly.
You want to know the person caring for them is at the top of their game?
Absolutely. And even before you get to those 175 questions, there's the whole eligibility thing. Just having your RN license isn't enough.
Oh, right. They want to see you've really dedicated yourself to this specialty.
Exactly.
So what does that look like in practice? What do you actually have to do?
You're going to need at least 50 contact hours of continuing education, and not just any continuing education. It has to be laser focused on gerontology.
Okay, so we're talking real commitment here. 50 hours, that's not nothing.
It's a significant chunk of time for sure, and it has to be within 3 years of you applying for the exam.
So it's not like you did a bunch of gerontology courses 10 years ago and you're good to go.
Nope, got to be recent. And it's not just about the hours themselves, it's the quality of those hours.
You can't just be like Googling gerontology crash course and calling it a day.
Not quite. The GNCC requires those contact hours to come from accredited providers, places like the NNCC, AAMP, those kinds of organizations.
So they're making sure you're getting good quality stuff.
Exactly. These providers, they've been vetted, they're trusted to deliver top-notch continuing education that really lines up with what the GSC is all about.
Makes sense. Now, I did see something in the FAQs about partial credit. What's that all about?
Yeah. Partial credit, that's there because they realize learning happens everywhere, right? Not just in courses with gerontology plastered all over them. So let's say you go to a broader nursing conference, but only some of it is actually about geriatric care.
So it's like you're panning for gold. You got to sift through to find those golden nuggets of gerontology knowledge.
That's a great way to put it. And you can actually calculate what percentage of that course time was spent on gerontology and apply for partial credit.
Oh, that's handy.
Yeah. The GNCC even lets you submit like course descriptions and materials if you're not sure. They're pretty flexible, which is nice.
It sounds like they really want people to get the right experience, not just check boxes. Okay, so let's fast forward a bit. You've put in the work, you aced that beast of an exam, you've got those official GSC credentials. Now what? What does this actually mean for your career?
Now is when it gets exciting. Okay, so the GSC, it doesn't magically give you extra privileges on top of your RN license or anything.
Right.
But it's a powerful statement.
Yeah.
Think about it. A hiring manager is looking at a stack of resumes.
Yeah.
That GSC, that's a beacon. It says, this nurse, they get it. They're passionate about caring for older adults, and they've got the knowledge to back it up.
It's that extra something that helps you stand out.
Exactly.
So how would you recommend someone showcases those credentials? I mean, you worked hard for them.
The GNCC actually gives you guidelines for how to use that GSC designation professionally. You can put it right after your name. Business cards, resumes, email signatures, even on your hospital ID badge.
I love that.
It's a subtle thing, but it makes a difference. It tells everyone, your colleagues, potential employers, and especially the patients, that you're the real deal.
It's like when someone asks, so what are your qualifications? And you can be like, well, as a matter of fact, I am certified in gerontology.
Exactly.
Mic drop.
Right?
But, and this is important, this isn't a get it once and you're good forever kind of thing.
Unfortunately not.
Things change so fast in healthcare. So how does recertification work with the GSC?
So gerontology, like any specialized field, it's always evolving, right?
Right.
New research, new treatments, new approaches.
Always something new.
Exactly. The GSC, it's good for 5 years. After that, you've got 2 options to recertify. Option 1, retake the exam.
So if you're someone who thrives on that test day adrenaline rush,
You're good to go.
you can do that. But I'm guessing the continuing education route might be a little more appealing for some people.
Oh, for sure. For the continuing education path, you'll need 80 contact hours to recertify, and at least 50 of those have to be directly related to gerontological healthcare.
So a few more than the initial 50 hours for the exam. But like you said, things are always changing, so I guess it makes sense you'd need to keep learning to stay current. What about those brave souls who go the exam route? Do they still need those 80 hours?
They don't have to have the 80 hours if they recertify by exam, but they still need to show they're actively involved in the field. So think professional practice hours or other equivalent activities.
So it's about demonstrating that ongoing commitment.
That's it. And of course, there are fees involved, both for recertification by exam and continuing education. The GNCC FAQs break down all the nitty-gritty on that.
Always good to be aware of those.
Definitely. It's smart to plan ahead, budget for it, all that good stuff. Now, what happens if someone, let's say, they forget to recertify or their certification lapses? What's the deal there?
Is it like forgetting to renew your driver's license, or is it a bigger deal?
Think of it more like a gym membership. You got to keep using it if you want the benefits.
I like that analogy.
If your GSC expires, you can't use the credential anymore. You'd have to retake the exam, pass it again, the whole 9 yards.
So moral of the story, don't let that expiration date sneak up on you. All that hard work, you want to make sure it stays valid. Okay, switching gears a bit, there was something really interesting in the GNCC FAQs that caught my eye. They mentioned that right now, there aren't actually any graduate programs or fellowships specifically designed to meet the GSC eligibility requirements. What do you make of that?
That's a really good point. It is kind of strange when you think about it. You've got this whole rigorous certification process, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're setting the bar high for what it means to really specialize in gerontological care. But then there's no clearly marked path to get there, educationally speaking.
Yeah, it's like saying, we need more expert pastry chefs, but then there aren't enough culinary schools teaching those advanced pastry techniques.
Exactly. You're left to figure it out on your own, hoping you're picking up the right skills along the way.
And hoping it's enough to meet the standards.
Right. So it makes you wonder, is the way we're teaching nurses right now really doing enough to prepare them for the unique challenges of geriatric care? Are we giving them the specific tools and knowledge they need to truly excel in this field?
It's a big question, especially with the need for this kind of specialized care only growing. You'd think thered be a more direct route to becoming certified, something to guide nurses and help them meet those high standards.
You'd think so, right. Maybe it's just a matter of time, like the awareness is there, the need is there, but the education side just hasn't quite caught up yet.
Or maybe it's an opportunity waiting to happen. What if nursing schools had these specialized tracks focusing specifically on gerontology and geared towards the GSC?
Oh, I love that idea.
Or what if hospitals had fellowships designed for nurses who want to become certified gerontological specialists?
That would be incredible. Not only would it make it easier for nurses to get the right training, but it could also encourage more nurses to choose this field, which is so important.
And at the end of the day, that's what matters most, isn't it? Making sure that older adults are getting the best possible care. When we invest in specialized training and education, it's a win-win for everyone.
Absolutely. So to everyone listening, here's something to think about. If you're passionate about geriatric care and you see this gap in specialized education, what can you do to help close it?
Even small actions can make a difference. Talk to your nursing school, reach out to professional organizations, start a conversation at your workplace. The future of geriatric care depends on passionate people who are not only dedicated to mastering those clinical skills, but also to shaping the way we educate the next generation of nurses.
Well said. We've just scratched the surface today with these FAQs, but I hope this deep dive has given you a better understanding of what it takes to become a gerontological specialist and maybe even spark some ideas for the future.
It's a fascinating field, and it's only going to become more important in the years to come. As always, thanks for joining us for another deep dive. Keep exploring, keep learning, and we'll see you next time.